Hello, everyone, and welcome to 10 Minutes to a Better Building, a podcast from Boland, your better building experts. Thrilled to have you along for this episode of the show. I'm Tyler Kern, and today we're talking about rental services, and not just rental services, but how you can be proactive, how you can choose the best rental services for your particular need, for planned and unplanned outages. And joining me today to talk about all things rentals is Tim Parrucci. He's the rental services leader at Boland, making him the perfect person to talk to for this topic. Tim, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Tyler, for having me. How are you today?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain.
Good. Let's talk rentals. So, Tim, from my understanding, there are two situations where rentals are necessary, right? Planned and unplanned events. So how can Boland's rental services be helpful in both of these types of scenarios?
Okay, so for example, a planned event would be a larger office building, maybe has a large chiller involved that has to be broken down for service and maintenance on a regular basis. So a building operator may call us and to come out and do a site survey on the site, determine what we can do to provide them with temporary cooling or heating, depending on what the application is, while their system is down for preventative maintenance. Where you have the other scenario, which is an emergency situation. For example, a hot summer day, 100 degrees outside, someone's system breaks down, chiller goes down, and they need air conditioning. It's a computer lab, something of that nature. And we can provide them typically within 24 hours a form of temporary cooling for their building and have them back up and operational while they're waiting to get their own equipment repaired and back up online.
I like how you used those examples there and really broke that down for us. That's really helpful. So I want to talk a little bit more about planned outages, like what you were describing for preventative maintenance and things along those lines. So tell me how it can be beneficial to plan ahead when it comes to rentals for these outages, and just knowing, and having a plan in place for what you're going to do while your system undergoes preventative maintenance and things along those lines.
Okay, so let's look at the scenario. We're going into fall. Now we know September and October, particularly in our part of the country, the weather stays warm going into October and fall. October, September, you still get some cool nights, but your days still warm up, and particularly in for example, a manufacturing plant or something that handles IT. Those areas still need cooling all year round, most of the time. So with a planned outage, they know fall is coming up. They know that their slow time of the year for business is coming up. They can contact Boland. We can send out one of our rental service team members. They can do a site survey and determine what would be best suited to act as a temporary cooling method for the space while their equipment is down being maintained. They're going to look at things, as far as equipment sizing. If it's, are we looking at a chilled water chiller? Are we looking at an air-cooled chiller? What are we looking at? What do we need to provide as far as electrical connections, potential chilled water connections, ductwork, those type of things? By knowing all that in advance, you're prepared. You can schedule dates for your planned outage, and Boland can schedule to have that equipment on site on that date, as opposed to if you wait and then the system goes down and then you're at the mercy of time at that point.
Mercy of time and the elements, whatever those elements might be on that particular day. So Tim, talk me through, what makes you choose a rental company? What factors should someone think through when it comes to choosing the right rental company for their particular needs on that particular day for that situation? What sorts of things should they think through?
Well, I think the thing to think through, especially if you're dealing with HVAC, what is the knowledge base of the rental company you're going to deal with? In our case with Boland's been in the heating, air conditioning, ventilation business for 60 plus years. Not only do we rental HVAC equipment, we have a on-staff service team pretty much 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that we can provide you quick service and quick installation for any of your rental needs that may come up. Whereas opposed to a number of our competitors, they not only do HVAC, but they can rent you a backhoe or something along other construction. We specifically look at only HVAC, and again, we have service techs who are trained on the equipment that we're putting in place for a rental operation. Our sales team has been in the HVAC rental business. I think one of our sales team members has been in almost 30 years. The other has been in for 10 years. We have a new associate that we just brought on who is coming up to speed quickly. So, we know HVAC. We can, compared to our competitors who, the guy who's coming out to look at that and do a site survey is the same guy who's possibly doing a backhoe or a bulldozer type of rental, whereas HVAC is what we do.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because especially when it comes to HVAC in summertime and in the area where you are in the DC area, you think about what it would be like to go without AC for a certain period of time in some of these facilities and buildings and that sort of thing. It just can't happen. And also mission critical type situations where you have to have a comfortable space for people to be in. You want to be able to rely on the people you bring in for HVAC rentals to really have a lot of expertise and knowledge in that area. It can't just be anybody that rents out anything. It has to be a company, I would think anyways, that has a special expertise in that area, like what Boland has. Do you find that's the case, that it's important to be able to rely on a company that has that kind of expertise?
Yes, 100% important. Having someone there who knows the business, they understand the needs of the customer, they can look at a site and understand what equipment would best suit the customers for a resolution, is head and shoulders above what another company or a rental company that does multiple types of equipment rental could provide them with. Typically, we're renting equipment that's train built. All of our technicians are trained on train equipment, which gives us a plus. They're not only trained on train, multiple other brands, but Train is our specific brand that we typically go to and use when we're doing rental equipment. So it helps a lot to know that we have a background with service technicians who've been trained on a train chiller or a train rooftop unit or DX unit, something of that nature.
Certainly. Absolutely. So, Tim, as we wrap up this conversation today, talking about rentals, both the preventative side, but also the planned side, the unplanned side and the planned side, is there anything that you want to say in closing and leave our audience with here today, just to wrap up and put a bow on this conversation? Anything you want people to walk away with when it comes to rentals?
Yes. When it comes to rentals, it's very important to pick a rental company that knows HVAC, that specializes in HVAC. We're not, again, I said it before, you don't want to go to a rental company that can rent you a backhoe and then is going to send the same guy out to tell you how to provide HVAC for your building in an emergency situation when time is critical and you need to get it back up online and get cooling in an office space or a manufacturing space. Loss of cooling in those critical situations is, critical to time. I mean, if you can't get cooling back up, you're down. Your business is shut down. So using a company like Boland Rentals, you can feel confident to know that we're going to give you our expertise and knowledge and have you back up online and running as quickly as possible.
Excellent stuff. Tim Parrucci, Rental Services Leader at Boland. Tim, thanks for joining me here on the podcast, talking to us a little bit more about rentals.
Thank you for having me, Tyler.
Absolutely. And everyone, for more, you can always go to boland.com for more on the rental services and everything that Boland provides. Make sure to go there for more information and stay tuned for future episodes of the podcast. We have a ton of episodes that you can go back and listen to on tons of different topics when it comes to having a better building. And so go listen to those podcasts. We have a lot of episodes across a lot of different topics and things that you can explore there. So go subscribe on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That way you can stay up to date with the latest and also have access to all of those previous episodes. And stay tuned. We'll be back soon with more episodes of 10 Minutes to a Better Building. But for this one, for my guest today, Tim Parrucci, I've been your host, Tyler Kern. Thanks for joining us.